Product market fit. That term gets thrown around by founders and they build a product and they hope people are going to come and use it. What is product market fit? How do I found it? And if you stay to the end, can it be measured? Let's dive in. Hi, welcome to Headline Deep Dive channel. Deep Dive is Headline's effort to equip founders like you to look at your businesses like VCs like us. So today, Nick and I, we're gonna cover a hot topic, product market fit. And I've asked Nick here to help us out in terms of understanding, can it be assessed and can it be measured? So Nick, what should founders be thinking about when they're thinking about product market fit?
Hey Conrad, good to be here. Let's start out with what product market fit really means. It's a fairly elusive concept as it basically describes, is a product meeting the demands and wants of a certain market? We at VCs look at this as an important factor. Has a business found product market fit is a very different risk profile versus a business that hasn't found product market fit. Measuring this can be a little bit elusive, but we at Headline look at this in terms of customer retention and how those customers that do retain with the product keep using the product over time. Instead of cohorting users based on how do they pay for a certain product or service, we look at how are end users actually using a product or service and how much engagement in terms of seconds end users having with a certain product. We want to look at user or customer retention here on a cohort by cohort basis. Every single month, the business acquires a new cohort, a new group of users. 100% of those users show up in life month one. And we want to see how many of these users keep retaining with the business as they mature to life month 2, life month 3 over time. And what we can read out of this chart here is that a new cohort starts at about 100%. This business can expect about 70% of these users to show up again after life month 2, about 50% after life month 3. And you can see actually at the churn of these users kind of decreases over time until these cohorts kind of flatline or even asymptote at this 40% mark, which lets us identify that if a business acquires 100% of new users, 45% of these users keep using this product every single month into the long term. And it's almost like you can assess that, hey, the business acquires 100 users, but about 45 of those users will make this product part of their every single day life, and they find product market fit with those users. That is one side that we want to see, is this flatlining asymptotic retention. A second piece that we want to identify is what is the actual usage of this product look like over time? And here we want to look at how much usage, in this case, we're looking at how much seconds is a user spending in the product. And we can see that in the first life months, these cohorts start using the product for about 276, 300 seconds, about 5 minutes in their first month. And this usage actually expands by life month 2 to around 500 seconds and keeps growing over time as these users age with the product. What does that tell us as VCs is that there's not just a subset of users that keep using the product every single month, but those users that do stick around keep becoming more and more active, most likely getting more and more value out of the product as they age with it, which tells us is that it's not just users that make it part of the everyday life, but those users get more value out over time. And we at Headline identified that and those two factors as product market fit.
When you show the retention and it goes down in VC world, if they see what we call low retention, like, single digit percentage of your customers survive till the very end, they're like, well, there's no product market fit. It's just too few people. When we look at companies, and maybe a lot of our founders listening to this, their retention isn't amazing. It's not like 90% or 80%. It's much lower than that, much, much lower. What would you tell them if they're sort of in that sort of single digit or low retention percentage area?
The way that we at Headline think about this initial dip in retention is really it's dictated by the marketing funnel or the customer onboarding funnel. If you have a very open funnel, anyone can just sign up to your product, almost like a Zoom. You just click a link and you can start using the product. You have a super wide, low friction customer onboarding or user onboarding funnel. And therefore you're going to have a larger amount of people try your product, but also a lot of people try a product that maybe are not ideally suited for your product. And therefore those users will churn out. That churn will happen in these first 1, 2, 3, 4 months before, kind of your core user base sticks around into the long term. So the more wide or open your product market funnel is, you can expect this initial drop to be greater. And the tighter it is, like an enterprise sales funnel, we would expect that 80% of users stick around, where like a prosumer type tool, it's not uncommon to see, 10 or 20% of users sticking around into the long term. So where this asymptote kicks in is really a function of how wide or tight your customer onboarding funnel is.
And you told me once that it's not so much that it's really easy for people to try out your product and they end up, a few people stick around. You told me that the limiting factor here actually is how big your market is.
Where your asymptote comes in at is in some sense almost secondary to us at Headline versus do you have an asymptote in the first place? Is there a core set of users that stick around into the long term? The question around this being 60 or 20% or even 5%, why a 5% retention asymptote might be concerning is that you, as the business, need to churn through 20 users. You need to onboard 20 users to your product for one user to stick around into the long term. So the question becomes is there enough target market for you to be able to churn through 20 users for every one user that sticks around? Or for you to get significant penetration or a significant customer base, do you need to churn through so many users that it's just not viable for you to build a big business around it?
So single digit retention numbers actually are okay if the market is big enough. If it's huge and you make it really easy for the whole world to try it, that's perfectly okay and it's totally viable.
As long as you can make those customer acquisition dynamics work, but that's a whole nother topic to dive into.
Thanks, Nick, for sharing your wisdom on product market fit. If you guys like what you hear, just remember to subscribe, comment below. Nick and I were here to answer any questions that you might have, and we'll see you again.